So good morning, teacher, and this is our concept paper, and we were going to present corruption. So we choose corruption because as of now, corruption are still happening, and there's a supply and demand. If there's a demand for corruption, there will be a supply, bribes, and lobbying. It is a law of nature. Ending corruption cannot be done without the political representation of innocent people who did nothing wrong but engage in a little corruption. As Joey Biden said, corruption is a cancer, a citizen's faith in democracy, diminishing the instinct for innovation and creativity. That's why we need to end this. So, our background of the study.
Corruption is a worldwide phenomenon and has been known to mankind for ages. It is however more prevalent in some cultures than in others and appears to be strongest during the most intensive phases of industrialization and modernization. Corruption is a common phenomenon found not only in the so-called developing countries and societies but also in the advanced societies of Philippines.
Next.
Preliminary Literature Review. According to Ango Abudali, corruption is the loss of purity in the minds and actions of people. Onigo Otil, 1982, also defined corruption as the perversion of integrity or state of affairs through bribery. Favor of powerful deputy. He also went further to explain that we at least two people have interacted to change the structure or process of society or the behavior of functionaries in order to produce dishonest, unfaithful, or defiled situation, we may say corruption has taken place. Mark Anika defines corruption as the manipulation of the coercive potential of one's social position to gain personal or group advantages at the detriment of another person. Max Weber, 1964, defined corruption as the depraved, dishonest, and immoral action or method of achieving an objective, popularly by offering and accepting bribes through favoritism and nepotism.
Next.
Statement of the problem. Corruption has eaten deep into the fabric of many societies, so much so that it is believed that is presently one of the greatest obstacles to national development. One hardly could get people to do or perform their duties without receiving material gratification. There is a complete loss of purity in the mind and action of people in the world over. All this constitute problems in our society and it has to a large extent inflicted pains to the health, well-being, and progress of our nation.
Next. So our methodology, we use sampling technique to gather data about a given topic, and we have a primary source as we plan. First is we use questioning. The secondary collection is data, which is relevant is reports, textbook, magazine, and internet. So the next one is the question. So what is the main purpose of your presentation? What is your motivation for doing the paper?
Wait lang. The main purpose of this presentation is most people are still unaware of the corruption in the government. It is important to us or us of this country speak about this matter. What most people do not understand is corruption in the government is currently happening and they're doing nothing. It is and will severely affect our country and the people. The motivation for doing this is because it affects our daily life like the tax that people are paying and then they're corrupting it. It has a huge effect on our country's future. It's important that we understand and inform that some of the people in the government are corrupt and they do nothing about it.
Okay. Next is next. What are the salient points? How do you gather these details?
Wait lang. The, the salient points are to persuade. And how did you gather these details? First of all, you should ask your teacher about the books and other sources of information that should be useful for your based on your topic. And use online libraries and web browser. Thank you.
Next question is, how will your study contribute to society? So basically, our study is critical to society development. It generates knowledge, provide useful information, help decision making among others. By doing this, it develops alternative solution, creating innovation, multi-purpose, products at cheaper cost, and solving the problem and many more. The next question is, what limitation have you encountered in the study and how do you address it?
This concept paper is limited in the definition of corruption in the government in order to give precise definition of the said topic.
Next is, what recommendations are needed to resolve the issue you have presented?
Undoubtedly, corruption has no silver bullet, and it has been the hardest issue in the government because of some of the government authority itself are corrupt as well. With that being said, proper ways and policies should be imposed to mitigate corruption in a specific country or government. Citizens should take part and be aware of their current leaders if they are doing their jobs right, and our influential leaders should have conscience in serving their people and leave their personal greed and agenda.
Thank you for listening.